The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the 2023 presidential election, Alhaji Abubakar Atiku, on Thursday stated that he did not betray President Bola Ahmed Tinubu over the allegation of certificate forgery he leveled against him in court. Rather, he stated that the former Lagos State Governor abandoned him as well as the Action Congress of Nigeria and supported Umaru Musa Yar'Adua of the PDP in the 2007 presidential poll. Atiku also recalled how he saved Tinubu by not allowing former President Olusegun Obasanjo to take over Lagos State in the 2007 general elections. However, the All Progressive Congress (APC) has knocked Atiku following his Thursday's attack on Tinubu, saying his ill-timed press conference was in gross contempt of the Supreme Court. The National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Mr. Felix Morka, stated that the ruling party was not bothered by Atiku's claim, which it said that it lacks purpose and deliver nothing except the pitiful regurgitation of lies, mindless distortions, and deliberate falsehood of Atiku's infertile obsession with the academic records of the president. But Atiku, who was the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the February elections, vowed not to give up on his quest to prove that Tinubu forged the Chicago State University certificate he submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) before the polls. Addressing a press conference in Abuja on Thursday, the former Vice President of Nigeria also urged the presidential candidates of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, and New Nigerian People's Party, Rabiu Kwankwaso, to support his quest for justice. Calling for mass support for his crusade, Atiku said, "In line with this, therefore, I am calling on all well-meaning Nigerians, leaders of thought, our religious leaders, our traditional leaders, our community leaders, our political leaders, and in particular, ex-governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi of the Labour Party, and ex-governor Rabiu Kwankwaso of the NNPP, and the leaders of every political parties in Nigeria, and indeed, every single person who loves this country as I do, and who wishes nothing but the best for the country as I do, to join me in this campaign to enshrine probity, accountability, and the basic principles of justice, morality, and uprightness in our country and our government." Atiku's lawyer, Kalo, alleged that the CSU confirmed that Tinubu's forged the certificate he presented to INEC. Also, the qualifying certificate from Southwest College to Chicago bear a female name, indicating that the document does not belong to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The CSU admission has a claim that Bola Ahmed Tinubu attended Government College Lagos and graduated in 1970, when indeed the school was established in 1974. We were told by the CSU registrar that the A in CSU stands for Adekunle, but the A in the certificate submitted by Bola Ahmed Tinubu to INEC has the NYC certificate as Adekunle, he further claimed. Kalo declared that the Supreme Court had held that they could permit a party to adduce fresh evidence as long as certain conditions were met, adding that from what transpired in the proceedings in US court, that condition is going to be met. So as we speak, our law is very clear that a party at fault cannot be allowed to enjoy the fruit of its illegality. Meanwhile, Atiku has reportedly filed fresh evidence obtained from the Chicago State University in the United States of America to strengthen his appeal in the Supreme Court against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. A credible source who is close to the former vice president exclusively disclosed that Atiku submitted fresh evidence. Responding to a question from our correspondent on the matter, the source said, "Yes, we have submitted fresh evidence to the Supreme Court before the deadline." But APC spokesman Moka dismissed Atiku's charges against the president as a display of desperation and an attempt to wipe up public sentiment and put the Supreme Court under pressure. He said, "For several weeks now, Nigerians and the world have watched Atiku Abubakar display of utter desperation in his failed bid to become the president of Nigeria. On Thursday, he put his desperation in overdrive during his press conference, where he addressed some of the issues in his appeal at the Supreme Court and binding unproven charges against the President of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in a calculated attempt to shamelessly wipe up public sentiment and inordinately pressure the Supreme Court. We believe Atiku should have known better than to demonstrate gross contempt of the highest court by making public comments on a matter that he has submitted to the court for adjudication." The major takeaway from his Yaradua Center show, especially at the question time, was that Atiku harbors deep animosity towards Tinubu, whom he believes was responsible for his electoral woes in 2007, 2015, 2019, and this year, 2023. This is a contempt of the highest court in the land. He and his lawyers should know better. The Supreme Court should hold them in contempt for speaking to what they are presenting before it. It is so unnecessary. Meanwhile, the leadership of the Labour Party has admonished Atiku to leave out its presidential candidate Peter Obi out of his feud with the president. The party's response was a reaction to an earlier call by the PDP candidate on Peter Obi and Rabiu Kwankwaso to join his crusade in exposing the alleged dirty secrets of the president. In a statement by the National Publicity Secretary of Labour Party, Obiora Ifo, on Thursday, the party disclosed that its candidate shouldn't be distracted as he is presently focused on reclaiming his stolen mandate from the Apex Court. The statement read, "The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, is presently at the Supreme Court seeking to reclaim his stolen mandate and his focus on that. He has been in the vanguard of ensuring a just nation where justice must be the watchword, and he will not stop until Nigeria achieves the leadership it truly deserves." Peter Obi has pontificated severally on the need for leaders to be good role models and to live a life worthy of emulation. This he has done by publicly putting his credentials in the open for verification. Nigeria will get better when men of integrity and honor drive the affair of the nation. We therefore welcome every other interest willing to join us in our pursuit of a nation where justice shall reign, the statement concluded. However, the spokesman of the Labour Party and Nollywood actor Kenneth Okonkwo has urged Atiku Abubakar to step down his presidential quest and join the Labour Party so as to defeat Tinubu at the Supreme Court, stating that Peter Obi is the Messiah that God has sent to redeem Nigeria from bondage. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the 2023 presidential election, Atiku Abubakar, has been advised to leave the PDP and join the Labour Party movement in order for the Labour Party and 8th presidential candidate Peter Obi to prevail in the Supreme Court case involving the petitions challenging the results of the 2023 presidential election. This advice comes from Kenneth Okonkwo, an attorney and spokesman for the Labour Party. According to the words of Kenneth Okonkwo, if Atiku Abubakar had joined this force earlier now, there is no issue of APC being the president of Nigeria. So I acknowledge that he is fighting for his political life. He wants to be the president. That is why he is fighting. Not that he is fighting for justice. Because it is his injustice against the people of the South, against the constitution of his party, that brought about the possibility of a Tinubu in the first place. So please, he is fighting for his political life, and I will advise him to join the people that are fighting for equity, justice and fairness, which he failed to fight in PDP, so that we can have a new Nigeria. Let him just step down and join us, so that we will win our case in Supreme Court. By God's willing, President Peter Obi will be enthroned in Nigeria, a man of competence, character and capacity, Kenneth Okonkwo stated. He further stated that Atiku Abubakar is not fighting for justice, he is only fighting to become the president of Nigeria. Kenneth Okonkwo, an actor from Nollywood and a lawyer, later turned politician, stated in a recent interview with Arise News that Atiku Abubakar is not just fighting for justice, he is only fighting to become the president of Nigeria. He added that if the 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Atiku Abubakar, had joined this force earlier, there will not be an issue with the candidate of the APC being the president of Nigeria. He further stated that Atiku Abubakar should know that after contesting for the presidency 6 times, the time has come for him to repent of being a member of a crook and wasted generation and join the new generation in the quest for a new Nigeria, which is exemplified by Peter Obi of the Labour Party. According to him, if you want to go to equity, justice and fairness, you should go with clean hands. Atiku should tell Nigerians the truth. He is not fighting for justice. He is fighting to become the president. It was because of his injustice in not allowing power to shift to the South that the certificate forger became the leader. He is fighting for his political life, and I will advise him to join the people who are fighting for equity and fairness, which he failed to fight for with the People's Democratic Party, Kenneth Okonkwo stated.